Have you tried to design a website and you felt that the whole process of designing the website is so overwhelming and yet you're not even getting those professional results that you need in a nice looking website? You look at other websites and you notice that everything seems to work fine, but for some reason on your website, things are not so good. Well, chances are you're missing the 3 pillars that you need in a web design process. Now, these 3 things can be applied to any page builder, or even if you're using Framo or HTML and CSS, these 3 things are very important. And these are the secrets that design agencies and successful freelancers keep and they don't discuss. Because you can imagine if everyone knows these tips, it's more competition for the design agencies and the freelancers. But in this video, I'm going to share these and show you how you can implement them in your website to achieve professional looking websites. All right, so the first principle, in fact, before I go into that, the question is, who am I and why should I be qualified to talk about this? Well, first of all, I've worked with Divi for more than 10 years. And I've actually worked at Elegant Themes, which are the makers of Divi, for about 5 years, working as their content creator as part of their team. So I've used Divi for a very long time and I've come across a lot of frustrations and so many things that I just wish were there to make the design process work. So now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about these 3 main pillars. So the first one is design consistency. In UI design, if you ask any UI designer or any graphic designer, they'll tell you consistency is very, very important in design. And this consistency has to be throughout the whole website, in typography, in color, in spacing, and in pretty much any sort of design that you do on the website. It is very important to have consistency. Without this, your website is not going to look professional. Secondly, responsiveness and accessibility. Nowadays, we have so many different screen sizes or so many devices that access the internet. Your website needs to look great on all these devices. Thirdly, the third pillar is speed and performance. You can imagine trying to go onto a website and it's so slow and it's not really performing as it's supposed to. Maybe you have crazy animations and everything is so slow. That constitutes to a website that is not professional. So you may be asking, so what's the solution? Is there a quick solution to this? Absolutely. But the problem is any page builder that you pick, whether it's Elementor, Bricks Builder, Divi, Oxygen, or whatever it is, out of the box, it doesn't have all these core principles that I've just spoken about inbuilt. You have to go in and apply these settings to achieve a professional looking website. So if you're a beginner, here's the challenge now. How do you go in and know what to add, where, what sizes? For example, let's say you want to add text onto a website. What size do you use for a small screen? What size do you use for a tablet? What size do you use for a bigger screen? And also, what unit of measurement are you using? Are you using pixels? Are you using rem? Are you using EM? Are you using percentage? Are you using VH? You see what I mean? So all this is overwhelming for a beginner designer who has just purchased Divi or you've just purchased your page builder. Because it's just so much that you need to learn in one go in order for you to achieve a professional looking website. So let me show you what I mean. So over here, I have a basic install of Divi. And right now I'm using Divi 5 because this is the future and pretty much that's where we're going. Right away, do you see that we have a basic install here? And when I go in and start working on this site, there are certain things that I need to go in and fix myself. All right, so let's go on to the dashboard here. So first of all, you want to make sure that all your pages are all set correctly. So you'd come over here to all pages and you notice that we have 2 pages, okay? We have the sample page and we also have the policy page. So let's say we add a new page and let's just call this my page, okay? So we're going to come over here and say my page and then we're going to use the Divi builder, okay? So now we want to go in and start applying all our text and all our sizes and so on. So what we'll do is we'll come over here, add our column. And by the way, you can see Divi here is very responsive. It's fast and I really, really love this. So I'm going to go in now and for this example, let's just add some text, okay? So I'm going to go in and add a text module. So here's where the problem starts. First of all, it's way too long here. This is not ideal for a website where you want people to read your content because it's way too long and this is not user friendly. So that's the first problem. The second problem is, okay, the text is a bit too small. How does this look on different devices? So perhaps you'd come over here on the tablet and say, okay, it's a bit small. And then you come over here on the phone and say, okay, on the phone, maybe it's okay, right? And we have all these tools that allow us to view things and tweak things all in Divi. But here's the thing, the way you need to look at any page builder, whether it's Divi, Elementor, or Bricks Builder, whatever it is these page builders are like ingredients to cook a really awesome meal. Okay, let's think of it that way. But it differs now how these ingredients are all mixed together in order for you to come up with a good meal. So you'll find that person A would use Divi and come up with amazing results, amazing websites. Person B may not come up with a very good, well-designed website. So the question is, what is lacking on person B? It means they don't know the proportions. They don't know what to use when in order for them to come up with a very good meal. And that's where the difference is between good designers and not so good designers. Okay, so now let's say you're designing and you're a beginner. You come over here and then you say, okay, I want to go into the settings now. And then over here on the settings, you start making decisions now. You start saying, okay, I need the text size. So you'd come over here and then you'd say, okay, 14 pixels. Okay, maybe let me bump it up to about 16. Okay, and then you start thinking, okay, what about the font itself? I want to change the font. And sure enough, Divi allows you to change the font and change the sizes and everything. Here we go. Here's the font. We search for it and there we go. Poppins. And now it's changed. And you'll be like, great, I've got my favorite font. It's on there. It's all good. All right. So now you continue on and then you say, okay, maybe on the phone, I may want to change the size. But anyway, in this case, the size looks great. All right. Now let's move on to the next thing. So perhaps maybe you want to add a title to this, right? So you'd come over here to the content. Perhaps you just hit enter here and then you highlight the text and you want to set this to perhaps maybe even heading 3, right? Again, you start thinking, okay, heading 3, that doesn't look big enough. It's not bold enough. So you start going now to design and then you want to look for heading text. So what you want here is heading 3. So you'd come over here. In fact, let me just move myself out of the way here. So now you're going to start saying, okay, we need to change the heading text. So we go to heading 3, right? And we need to change the size. So perhaps let's bump it up to about, let's say 32, right? And let's make it bold, right? So all these decisions you're making are pretty cool. And it looks awesome on that, right? But guess what? Let's save this. In fact, let's publish this, okay? So let's say all this is all saved up, but I want to create later on down the line on a different page, similar text and similar settings. Check this out. I want to come over here and say add new module, text. There we go. Do you see that? It has gone back to my default settings of my font. And this is the default that comes with Divi. So now we have to go through the whole process again of choosing the font, choosing the sizes. And you can imagine now you have 50 pages. How long is it going to take you to go through this? Just the text. I haven't even added other modules. This is just the text I'm talking about. It's going to take you a very long time. But here's the worst part. If you come back to your website, let's say you're working on 5 websites, and you come back on this website after, let's say, 2 weeks, are you going to remember the sizes that you used for heading 3, or perhaps even heading 4, heading 5, heading 6? Chances are you're not. And besides, there's no consistency in this. And this is the first pillar that is so difficult to achieve if you're a beginner. So then you'd say, why not create a preset, which is a fantastic idea. Okay, presets, which means if I set a preset, I'm good to go. Every other text I'm going to add on this website is going to follow the preset as long as I choose it. How do we create a preset? Very, very easy. So you'd come over here, select this, and then you'd come over here and say new preset from current styles. And then you'd say, let's call this Mac preset. Okay. And then here, do I assign it as a default? Yes, you could do that so that whatever text I'm going to add in the future is going to follow this. Okay. So I'm going to say save. Great. So now, do you notice that this has now changed? If I now go in and add another text module, select it, boom, everything's now consistent. But we still have a problem. And the problem is now our text is not fluid. What do I mean by that? If you want your website to look great, for example, let's work on just the heading in this example, okay? We're just gonna work with the heading. You would say, all right, for my normal desktop, that's the size. Was it 32? I can't remember. And then over here, perhaps you want to make it slightly bigger. So you'd come over here to design, heading text, making sure you have selected heading 3. You're now going to increase the size from 22, perhaps maybe to, let's say, 34, right? It's looking great. And then here on the mobile, you could say, all right, I want to reduce it a little bit. All right, so let's do that. So we're going to go down to, let's say, 26. So now we have specific sizes for a specific screen size. And this in itself may look like a very good solution, but it is not. Because ideally, you want a text that is fluid. It adjusts its size based on the screen size that it has. So do you see now where the gap between a beginner and the gap between a professional designer now starts widening? So now you may say, well, okay, is it just the text that we have a problem with? And the answer to that is no. We also have other modules that need to adhere to the fluidity and the consistency of the website for it to qualify as a professional looking website. All right, so what else? Okay, we've talked about the modules. Well, the spacing on the site needs to be also sorted. And also our sections needs to have fluid padding and different sizes as well. So do you see now how overwhelming it becomes for just a new designer who wants to go in and start designing a basic website? It becomes overwhelming because now you have to think of the section padding. It has to be consistent. And is it using rem? Is it using percentage? Nobody knows. You're confused. Now, just that research alone takes ages. All your modules, now they have to be, again, consistent. All right, let's put all that to the side. What about color? You have to be consistent with color as well. How are you going to apply your color in your web design process? Now let's take a look at color itself. So over here, we are greeted here with this basic color palette, right? So we would need to go in and add all our colors, but is this the right place to add our colors? Absolutely not, because this is not where you add your primary color, your secondary color, your text color. This is done in the actual theme settings. And again, as a beginner, are you going to know all these things? Yes, there are a lot of tutorials out there that show you how to do this, how to do that, and so on. But for them to really go in and show you something specific like this will take you a very long time for you to find this information. So at this point, you're thinking, all right, I need to add a new section. You'd come in here, add a regular section, and the colors, you haven't added your color palette yet, okay? We go to our global colors. Yes, we have these as our global colors, but okay, where do I go and customize them? Well, you can customize them right here, but where are these colors actually situated, right? Anyway, I digress. So here we have our new section, and let's say, in fact, I don't want to change anything here. It's asking me, am I sure? I'm just going to say no. Okay, so we have our section here. We can add a single column, and let's try and just add a basic background color here. I'm just going to move myself out of the way and come over here to background. So now, if you're a beginner, you're going to start doing this now. You're going to go in and then you're going to dial in your color here for your background. And again, the problem is you're not sure whether you should use specific colors or not. You don't even have a proper color scheme. So it's all over the place. Right now, we don't even have a footer. So you need to worry about creating a footer. And for you to create a footer, you need to go into a specific part of the website, and that is your theme builder. So I'm going to come over here. So we're going to exit out of here. Okay. We're just going to save and exit out of here. Right. So this is another place that we need to go. And I'm just going to open this in a new tab so that we don't have to go between so many pages. Okay. So now we are here and we need to sort out our footer. So we would come over here to Divi. Theme options. We need to go into the theme builder. All right. So do you see that we don't even have any templates here? So we need to create our footer by coming over here to our global footer. And then we can either add from the library or build from scratch. Okay. The second part is we don't even have a 404 page. So if I was to come on on this website and I search for a page that doesn't exist like this, you'll notice that we just have a no results found. Nothing really looks, designed. So you need to design a 404 page yourself, a search results page. In fact, let me show you what the search results page looks like. So if I were to come here and search for, let's say, test, you see the search results says no results. And, it's just a basic setup for you. And over here, we also have, in fact, let's go to our main page. We have our blog posts, and this is our blog post. If I go to this blog post, it looks like this. Now you need to go in and start designing the blog post itself in the theme builder. Now, do you see how much work needs to go into just one website? Now imagine this. You are a freelancer and you want to design 5 websites. 10 websites a month. You need to go through the same process of creating your footer, your 404 pages, your search results page, your theme builder, and so on. And the process is the same every single time. Now, do you see how that is overwhelming? Very overwhelming. So it is very difficult to have your consistency, responsiveness, your speed and performance if you design your website this way. And this is why, if you look at other page builders, they have come up with a solution. And this solution now saves designers a lot of time going in, making this tweak, that tweak, this tweak every single time they want to design a website. And this solution is a framework. If you go to Bricks Builder, there's automatic CSS, which is fantastic, by the way, because I've actually bought it and I've used it. And it is amazing because it is just simplified the whole process of adding specific numbers here, specific this there, it's all built into the framework. So as a designer, you just go in and start designing. But thankfully, if you're someone who loves Divi and you've invested in Divi, I've actually created a framework for Divi that simplifies the whole process. In fact, it answers the problems that we have right now of consistency, responsiveness, and speed and performance. Let me show you how this framework works once you install it. All right, so over here, I've gone ahead and I've installed SiteKrafter, which is the framework. Now remember, I was talking about the theme builder. So you can see here that we have a theme builder and it has all our designs there for us. For example, let's say I want to go in and see if I type in a page that doesn't exist. We have a 404 page. It's simple, but pretty much it's a very good starting point. We have a 404 page. If we click here, it goes to the home page. Okay, brilliant. Okay, what about the blog? Remember the blog that I showed you? It didn't have much going on. It's just a plain blog. Where is it? Right here. This is what you get out of the box when you install Divi 5 or Divi for the first time. But when you install SiteKrafter, in fact, let me bring it here so it's side by side. We have a custom blog page that is designed for you. All done in the box when you install SiteKrafter. And this is the layout that you get when you install SiteKrafter. And when you click on a blog post, look at that. You now have a design which is already done for you. If you change this image here in your blog post, it will automatically change, right? If you look at the way things are laid out here, this is the actual size of the characters that need to be on a page to make it easier to read for your users. And this is scalable, okay? If I scroll down here, you have related posts. You see that? We have your comments area and you also have a footer, all designed for you. All you have to do after you install SiteKrafter framework is to go in and change the colors. And there is also a process to go in and change your colors in specific places, which makes the whole process much, much easier. Okay, so what else do we have here? When you install this, it comes in with all these basic pages that you normally get when you set up a basic website. So as you can see, it is very, very, very powerful. But I haven't even started talking about the main features of SiteKrafter. Now, let me show you something else that's really interesting. If I now go to the dashboard here and we go to pages, it comes with specific pages which are really, really important for a designer and for a professional design workflow. So the first page I want to talk about here is the style guide. Okay, so I want to open this in a new tab like that. Now, do you see that we have your primary color, and this is your main brand color, and you'll see this across the whole website. So if I come over here to blog, there you go, that's our primary color. Okay, we have our action color. This is our call to action, and again, this is specified in one place, and this will be consistent across the whole website. Whenever you want to add a button or a link or any URL, that is the color that will be automatically added. And this now answers the design consistency that I started off with, which I said is very, very important in what? In having a professional looking website. Here we have our headings text. We also have our body text. But you know what's really important here? You know what's really, really important? When you install SiteKrafter, you don't need to go in and start adjusting your heading text, your body text, and so on. You just need to install SiteKrafter, and you don't touch the text, because in the framework, it's pre-built to be fluid. What do I mean by that? Take a quick look. When I make this smaller, watch the text. Do you see how it's becoming smaller and smaller and smaller based on the screen size? This is what I mean by fluid typography. It is very, very important because it takes away the headache of going in and starting to think about what font you're going to use for what element. So for example, do you use pixels? Do you use rems? Do you use EMs? All that guesswork or all that research is now out of the window. You just install SiteKrafter and that's it. The fonts are well taken care of. Okay, so what else? Well, remember, I spoke about sections and how important it is to have sections which are fluid as well. When you come over here now, we have special commands that you can add in order for you to get all these features that allow you to design professional looking websites. Now, let me show you how this works. It's actually really, really fun. So I want to open up a specific page here. And let's go ahead and find this page. So like I said, you know, all this is designed for you, your 404 page, your search results page, your blog page, and all your category pages, all done for you. This already has taken away probably 2 days of work of going in, customizing all your text and so on. Okay, so let's look at another part here, which is also very important. So there's another page here, and these pages, by the way, are come in the framework installed by default. Okay, so we're gonna head over now to our pages, click on all pages, and the page I'm looking at here is called the presets page. Okay, and this is what it looks like, and this is where the fun begins, because you have these shortcuts which you go in and add, and automatically it just gets added onto your design work. So let me show you how this would work. All right, so let's take a page here, and let's work on our about page. Okay, it can be any page, by the way. So I have the about page here. So first things first, I want to go in and add a background color. Now you notice the color palette. We have our shades here. Okay, and these shades is what you find in a lot of websites. You have very subtle grays which you use to section out different places on your website. So for example, let's say I want to use this very light gray just to show where my content is. I can go in and add a single column, and perhaps I want to add some text in here. Okay, so if I go and do that, you were probably going to say, but Mac, we're back to square one. This is what it looked like when we install the normal Divi 5 install. But check this out. And this is where the power of the framework comes in. If I now come over here to advanced and I go to CSS ID and classes, notice what happens when I just type in SK. My text now is fluid and responsive. Okay. And let's say I come back over here and I need to add some headings, right? So perhaps maybe this is going to be heading 3. All I need to do now is just to assign heading 3, but the sizes are all okay. These are the proper sizes. And let's say this text here, you want to make it readable to your users, because remember, I mentioned earlier on, and I said that this is way too long for your viewers to read, because the characters are meant to be 70 characters, and this is the best implementation of your text on your website. So what you do, again, you'd come over here to advanced, and then all you need to do is to say sk-content. Oops. Do you see now? I'm typing a command and my site is shaping up. Isn't that awesome? Now you may be thinking, well, is that just for the text, Mac? Absolutely not. If I start adding modules here, so let's go ahead and add another module. And this time I'm going to go with, let's say 3 columns. So in the first module here, perhaps you want to add a blurb. There we go again. We have small text and, things don't look right. Again, here's the thing. You select it. You'd come over here to advanced, CSS ID and classes. And all you have to do is say SK. That's it. And now it is fluid. It is responsive. And this setting is done only once. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what if I don't like the specific sizes here? Can I override them? Absolutely. First of all, you could come in here and say, right, for my text, my heading 3, I really want to change that because perhaps you're not happy with heading 3. So I'm going to go to my title text and say, okay, was that heading 3? Yes. So I'd come over here and you see how big that is. Perhaps I'll change it to heading 5. Now, do you see how small it's become? That's all you need to do. There's nothing else you need to do in terms of the sizes. And you can see here, I haven't even touched that. Now, if you come over here to the top, okay, in fact, let me put it on heading 4 because I prefer this size. If I come over here to the top now and go to the tablet, do you see that it still looks great? It still looks great. The sizes is fine, it's perfect. Everything has been baked into the framework to ensure that consistency will be applied across the whole website. Okay, so let's go back over here. Now, what else can we do with this framework? Well, remember I mentioned that when we design, our sections here come with a default size. Now, if I click on this section, I can actually come over here, CSS ID and classes, and I can say section large, section small, and so on. So I'm going to type in here section large. Do you notice that it happened so fast, but do you notice that the size here just changed because I've set it to large? Now there's different sizes. I can set this to small. Do you see that? These sizes that I'm entering here are all fluid. They all look great on different devices. Again, I'm going to come over here. Now, do you see? In fact, I can't see it properly here, but let's bring it down to the bottom here so you can see that this looks great pretty much everywhere. Okay, I'm going to bring this to the top and then we're going to go into our tablet view. Now, do you see our spacing here on the tablet? Perfect. If we go to the phone, again, it is perfect. The padding is perfect. It's well calculated. It's perfect. Okay, so you don't need to go in and fix anything. Now, I know it's probably going to be difficult for you to memorize, section hero, section large, and so on. Well, you have a dedicated page here. You can come in and take a look. And this is the page. You can see here it says section hero. All you have to do is to copy this. Maybe you want to make it medium. You'd copy that. Come over to this page, and perhaps you want to make it medium for this. You'd come over here, go to advanced CSS ID classes, and you can just paste it, and you can see there it has been applied. Okay. Now we have also more presets. Text align. Okay. So you can use text align to align your text on your site. Okay. Let's do this. I'm going to come over here. And let's say I want to align this center. I'll just select it like that. Come over here now to advanced CSS ID and classes. And this time, all I have to type in is center. Do you see how it's centered? So anytime I need to center text that I'm working on, I just need to type in one command and that's it. This now has saved me so much time to go into the actual element here. So the normal design process would be you'd come over here to text, and then in fact you'd go over here to design, you go to your text here, you scroll down here, you click here on align center, and then you go to the heading text and then align the heading text as well. But do you see now how this is where you align the heading right there. But do you see how easy it is just to use these quick commands onto your advanced tab? So as you're designing your website, you will notice that this won't take you a very long time. And because these are CSS classes, okay? These are CSS classes. For those of you who know HTML and CSS, you know that if you define certain elements of your website as classes, everything is under one document and it makes your website super fast. because you don't have different instances of a size here, a size there, a size here, line height here, line height there. Everything is all in one place, and that one place is controlling the whole website, making it super fast. Now, do you see how this framework has now fixed these three problems? Design consistency, responsiveness, and then speed and performance. Now, there's also a few other things that we can do with this. So let's say I want to add some rounded corners to my design here. I can just click on it like that, and perhaps I could give it some spacing. And for my spacing here, I'm going to go with 2 rem like that. So that's going to be top, bottom, and then I'm going to do left and right as well. Oops, rem. There we go. So I've applied it to top, bottom, left, and right. So let's say you want to add some rounded corners, right? So to do that, you'd come over here to advanced. I mean, of course, you can do it manually, but we're now coming over here to CSS ID and classes. And then I'm just going to say radius. In fact, I've forgotten. Now, I'm doing this intentionally, by the way, because I want to show you what happens if we were going into this design process. So I'd come over here and say, okay, border radius. How do we add it again? Here it is. Radius large. Okay, so this is what I need to do. Copy radius large, and then I'm going to come over here and paste it, but we can't see it. That's because it's on a white background. So perhaps we need this, we need some shadows, right? So we'd come over here to our presets, and then we look for shadows. Oh, there we go. So I want to add shadow large, okay, because maybe this is what's easier to see. So I'm gonna go there, space, and paste it. Do you see that my shadow now has been added? But for consistency now, I can have this across the whole website. Just these 3 items I've selected here. Okay, so does the radius also work on other elements? Absolutely. So I'm going to add the text element here like that, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add a bit of padding to this, because I want this to be like a notice. Okay, so I'm going to come over here, go to spacing, and I'm going to say 2 rem, like what I did before. Okay, I'm going to apply it left and right, 2 rem, and then I'm also going to do top, bottom, left, and right. And again, I'm going to come over here to advanced, CSS ID and classes. You can see my text is small. Okay, how about SK? Boom, my text is now the right size, just like that. Next, I'm going to say, okay, I want to add a border shadow. Now, do you see how my shadow has just been added, just like that? And perhaps for consistency purposes, I want to have these rounded corners as well. So I'm going to go to my presets, and I'm looking for my radius, and it's going to be radius large. Okay, so we'll come over here, and I will just say, okay, radius large. Now, do you see now I have consistency of shadows? I have consistency of roundness throughout my whole design. And let's say this now needs to be a notice on my website, right? I can easily say BG-error. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, so it's intentional, because I can go ahead and check my color utilities here. Okay, so this is a BG notice. Maybe this needs to be a notice. I can copy that, and then I'm going to come back and paste it over here. Do you see that? BG notice. And it has taken my what? My notice color for my website. Isn't that awesome? So let's say it's not the notice that I want. It's perhaps a warning. I'll just copy that. It becomes BG warning. I'll just come over here and say, okay, BG warning. There you go. That's my warning. So anytime on your website you want to add a notice, it's a warning, or it's an error, whatever it is, the colors are there for you. So quick to go in and add. So this saves you now time to go into text, and then you have to go to your background, and then now you want to say, okay, where's my color? And then you would come over here, you start looking for colors. Perhaps you head over to a different page, you go to a color palette, you're going to start looking for your colors there to come and add them over here. There won't be no need for that, because everything is in the framework itself. Okay, next, you may be thinking, well, but Mac, are all these modules responsive? Are they fluid? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. Now you are going to save a ton of time, because each and every module you add onto your website has to come with its own customizations. Okay, if you don't If you think that's not true, I want to show you in a moment how that is so difficult. All right, so I'm going to go for a call to action here. So let's say I want to add a call to action. I'll add it, and you can see it's taken on my color from my color palette. And again, I'm going to go in, get rid of some of this text. And I also need a button here. So let's go ahead and add our button. So to add my button here, in fact, let me just bring myself over here to the left. So to add my button, I'll come over here to the link, and then I'm going to say button URL. I'm going to add my button. Okay, so that's my button right there, but this is not responsive. And to prove that, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to scroll down. You can see everything's a bit tiny. Okay, so what you do is you select it like that, advanced, CSS ID and classes, SK. Now my text is fluid. I don't need to go in and start entering, specific sizes for the body text, for the heading. No. And also, you see this text here? Perhaps maybe that's not what I want. I'll come over here because it's too big. I'll come over here to my text. You can see it's set to H2. I can bring it down a little bit, maybe to H3. And perhaps maybe that's the size I want to go with. But just notice that my clicks now have reduced. I don't need to go in and set the size, the line height for the heading text and so on. No, it's already done in the framework for me. Right, so let's go ahead now and make this smaller. Do you see that? Now it's a mobile view and everything looks great. If you want to add some rounded corners to this, you just add your radius, and your radius also works. So perhaps maybe, let's say you've forgotten what the command is. You'd come over here to advanced, ID and classes. So already we have SK, and then I'll just come over here to my page and say, okay, radius large is what I've been using. So you'd come over here and then you'd go to the page, add radius large, and boom, all my radiuses across what I've done so far are all consistent. How cool is that? Now, there's also another really cool thing that we can do to our design here. And by the way, this framework is going to evolve. I'm going to be adding more and more and more features to make it really awesome, to make it really easier for us to design our websites every single time we start designing our websites. Now, I want to show you something really cool here. So I'm going to go in and add a single column, but this time I want to add a button. Okay, here it is. So let's say I want to add 2 buttons here, right? But I want them side by side. Okay, side by side. Now, you know that right now in Divi, it's almost impossible because we don't have Flexbox right now in the Divi builder itself. It's something that's coming later on, but at the moment we don't. But this framework has a solution for that, and I'm just about to show you how that works. Okay, so what you need to do is to go in here, select your row settings, and then you'd come over here, go to advanced, CSS ID and classes, and all you have to do is to type flex. Just by typing flex, the buttons now are side by side. So you may be thinking, well, they're way too close together, right? So I need a gap between there. So you don't have to go into the builder itself and start looking for the gap size and so on. All you need to do is to type in gap, and the gap is applied. And you're probably thinking, well, I need it centered because it's part of my design here. I need it centered. Well, it's simple. Now, I forgot it. I forgot the command that I need for the centered stuff. So I'd come over here to Flexbox, and I'm going to say, okay, justify center, I think. So I'm going to copy that, come back over here, and I'll add a space and paste this just like that. I'm now on justify center, and this now, without even us realizing it, it's become some sort of a hero design, or even a section design. We have our call to action buttons there. We have our header text. We also have our text in the right width, and also the sizes are all together. It's all responsive and everything looks great. Okay, so let's head over here now and take a quick look at it. Do you see the sizing here is great, and all our buttons here are all in the same place, and everything is just perfect. Now I know the top part here is blocking us from seeing everything. So let me just drag this to the bottom here so we can see it clearly. Again, I'm going to do it one more time. If we scroll down, you can see our text here. Our padding is there. It's proper. Everything looks neat. Look at that. Our buttons are there side by side, and everything looks great. These are the ingredients that you need for you to design a consistent looking website. Now, if you just wanted to add these buttons side by side and centered, and you wanted to do a bit of research online, this probably take you an hour. I mean, I can tell you for a fact that there are not so many tutorials that show you how to add items in a straight line and also centered line in the manner that I've done that. There are very, very, very few tutorials that will show you how to do this. Now imagine you're designing a website for a client. To go through this process of doing some research here, coming back to your website and it just takes ages. So the SiteKrafter framework for Divi takes away so much time needed for you to make all these tweaks that you need as you're designing your website, because everything is pre-built in the framework for you. Now, for those of you who are thinking, well, can I override the framework itself in case you want to make specific designs that you want that are outside the framework? Yes, you can use the framework alongside what we have already. For example, if I come over here and add my text module, I could go in and add specific sizes by just coming over here and adding, let's say, for this, let's go with 28. Oops. What have I done here? Okay, you see, I've just added 23, but I would have to go in and add specific settings. For example, well, with this text, you can see here, it needs a bit of line height. So I would need to come over here and then I'm going to start adding my line height. So I'm going to start with 1.3 and say, yeah, maybe 1.3 looks great. And if you want to center it, you would come over here and center it. And do you see now the tweaks I have to make? And these tweaks here are only being applied here, but this text here will not be responsive. It needs to be adjusted and it's not going to be consistent throughout the whole website. So as you can see, the framework here is taking a lot of the work that you need to do as a designer, and it's all baked in, saving you a lot of time. And it's also helping you design professional looking websites because you have consistency, responsiveness, and then you have also speed and performance. Okay, now there's also other features here that I haven't covered, but the top most features here are you're going to have your fluid text. You're going to have your footers all designed for you. You also have all your major pages like your blog page here. It's designed for you. You can just add your color here and it's all done. And all your blog posts are also done for you. If you take a look at that, you can see that this is ready to go. If you're designing a website for a client, this is pretty much out of the box, ready to go. It's got a blog post design. If you go to your search here and you search something, let's try and do that. Let's search for lorem because I know I've used that text. You can see here results for lorem, and then it shows you down on the bottom here. Do you see that? And if you want to refine your search, you can just come over here and say a lorem with a double R, for example, and the results also show here. You see that? I mean, this is what you need out of the box as a beginner designer or as a design agency in order for you to design consistent looking websites throughout. So you may be thinking, well, what if I come back after, let's say, months of working on this website and I need to make changes? All you need to remember are these few things here on this page. Which page is it again? I think I've moved away from it now. Okay, it's the presets page. Let me just search for it. Okay, there we go. So this is the page. Oops. Let's head over here and find the page. Okay, here it is. This is the page that you need really to go back to if you want to remember what you did. And there's also other items here. We have shadows. Okay, you have your small shadow, you have medium shadow, you have large shadow, and so on. Like I said, you have flexbox, you have border radius, you also have text align, so it's designed for you to just go in, copy that, paste it, and pretty much you're good to go, saving you a lot of time. For your fonts here, you can see we have uppercase, we have your text content, which is the 70 characters one, which is ideal for your UI design. And then you also have your fluent text, which has all your headings set for you, and pretty much you're good to go. And then here we have our section padding. As I mentioned, we have your hero sections, which are quite big. We have your section large, section medium, and section small. All this stuff that I'm talking to you right now is fluid, it's responsive. You don't need to go in and enter any values. It's done for you, out of the box, ready to go. All right. Now, the page that I didn't talk much about is this one here, where we have our colors. If you had a client that you're working with, this is where you would show them the colors that the brand has, and pretty much it is very, very easy to access. So you may be thinking, well, Mac, so this framework, how much does it cost? Well, let's head over to SiteKrafter.com. Okay, it has its own website, as you can see here. So we're going to go to our plans and pricing. So at the moment, it's the Black Friday deal. So very soon I'm going to activate the Cyber Monday one. So the idea here is, if you purchase this is an investment. You've already purchased Divi, but now you need to really add steroids to Divi to make it really work fast for you, to really design consistent looking websites for you. And this is where SiteKrafter comes in. Okay, so yearly, normally it's going to be $97. Okay, but outside the yearly, in fact, right now we're doing all these promotions. It's 40% off, so you can get this at $58. This can be used on unlimited websites, and you need to renew it every year, because of course you can appreciate that I'm going to be adding a lot of features to this to make it more and more awesome. And I'm also going to be taking a lot of feedback from people to really make this amazing. If you want to go with a lifetime license, which is what I recommend, this is awesome, because you only pay $167 and that's it. You now have the lifetime membership. Every time there's updates, you're going to get them absolutely free. There's no need to pay any extra for any updates to the SiteKrafter framework. So here you can see it comes in as a WordPress plugin. You have unlimited updates. You can use an unlimited website. So if you're a design agency, you can use it as on as many websites as you want. There's no restriction. Okay. Now, I'm also creating some training around this. So it is very, very important, because this training allows you to use SiteKrafter even more effectively. And I'll also be sharing some best design tips. And this is all going to be for anyone that purchases SiteKrafter. And that includes you. So you may be thinking, well, so what else comes with this? Now, I am really serious about SiteKrafter, and I've created a community for it. So if we head over here to our community, you notice that we have our Divi community. But if I come now to my spaces here, you notice now that we have a specific community for everyone that has purchased SiteKrafter. And here, as you can see here, we have 175 members. Okay, pretty cool. So here is where we're going to be sharing design tips. We're going to be sharing so much stuff here. These are real people, right? This is not a community that I've just made up. These are real people in this community, and we're all going to be congregating here and sharing ideas of how we can design awesome looking websites with Divi, and also sharing our designs, critiquing each other. And I will be active in SiteKrafter to really allow us to get the best out of SiteKrafter. So I'm super excited about this, and you purchasing SiteKrafter is actually an investment, because if you've already purchased Divi, especially the lifetime license, then you're going to need something that's going to make Divi work much, much faster, much, much easier. And this is the tool that allows you to design consistent looking websites. Anyway, that is SiteKrafter. When it comes to the pricing, it is going to change, because over here you can see these are unlimited. I'm going to make it cheaper, but of course for lesser websites. So the idea, after all this Cyber Monday promotions and all of that, I'm now going to change the pricing to perhaps maybe one website costing maybe $39, and then the licensing for maybe 3 websites will be perhaps $79, and then the unlimited will just be a different price. So this is the time to get your license, especially these 2 options we have here, the lifetime or the yearly subscription, because these prices, like I said, they're going to go. I'm going to change these and then fully focus on making this awesome. And I'll also be doing a lot of masterclasses where we're going to be using SiteKrafter to design our pages. Anyway, right, I've covered quite a lot, and I haven't really covered everything that I wanted to cover about SiteKrafter. There's a lot in there, and there's a lot of ideas, a lot of features. that are all lined up coming through. It's just that right now it's a busy time, and this is what I could show you, but investing in this is a proper investment. So I'd highly recommend that you go ahead and take on that 40% discount that's available today and probably until Cyber Monday. After that, the pricing is going to change. It's going to be a bit more expensive, and we are just going to be focusing on SiteKrafter for designing our websites with Divi. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.